Hello everyone, this is Yvette from the Kat Scrappiness design team. I'm here today to show you how to make a tag gift card holder. Let me show you real quickly the supplies I'll be using. I am going to use these white enamel dots by Kat Scrappiness. I'll also be using this Santa's Helpers stamp set and the coordinating dies. I'll be using the gift card pocket die, and I'm pulling in some of this beautiful Reindeer Games pattern paper. And then to add a little bit of a finishing touch to my tag gift card holder, I will be using the buildable dies. Now for the bow, I'm using the second to smallest bow, and then for the tails, I'm using the smallest tails. Now I am going to use all 4 of the Santa's Helpers images. I'm going to go ahead and stamp this using some Gina K Designs amalgam ink. And I like to stamp my images first and set them aside to dry for just a minute before I color them using my Copic markers. So I will place these in my mini MISTI and start stamping them. Now while I stamp my images, I wanted to share a little bit about my favorite products from Kat Scrappiness. All month long, members of the creative crew have been sharing their favorite Kat Scrappiness supply for the Creative Crew's 2022 Holiday Gift Guide. One of my favorite products is actually all the beautiful pattern paper that Kat has available. She has several sizes, including 6x6, 6x8, and even some slimline paper pads, and the quality is amazing. My second favorite product is actually a group of products, and it is all the wonderful embellishments available. And part of this group of favorite products, I am also including the triangle embellishment sorting trays. These trays help to keep me organized while using a variety of embellishments on my cards. My third favorite product is the reverse tweezers. These tweezers are like a third hand for me. They help me to pick up and place the tiniest of die cuts and embellishments. My fourth favorite product is the embossing powder tool. This tool is essential to getting great results when heat embossing. My fifth product is really a category of products. It is all the amazing stamps and coordinating dies that are available. They are absolutely adorable. Make sure to check the description box below for links to my favorite Kat Scrappiness products. Now, as you can see here, I'm stamping the images multiple times to get a good crisp black line. Now, the solid color paper I'm using are the shimmery cardstocks I had in my stash. I have a shimmery red, a shimmery green, and a shimmery, looks like beige to me. Now, you don't necessarily have to have a tag die to make tags. Let me show you how I'm making mine. First, I'm going to pull in the Reindeer Games pattern paper and choose some coordinating papers. So I've chosen this patterned paper with the Christmas hats on it to go with the red shimmery paper. And for my green shimmery paper, I've chosen this paper with a holly leaves and berries. And for the beige shimmery paper, I've chosen this diagonal plaid because the background isn't a stark white. It's kind of a cream color that I think goes with the beige paper much better. And then I'm going to set my pattern paper aside to use later to cut my bows. Now before I cut my tags, I'm going to go ahead and attach the pattern paper to the back of the shimmery cardstock. And I will attach it using my Barely Art Precision Craft Glue. That gives me a little bit of wiggle room when placing my cardstock down. And I'm just gonna go ahead and attach it to the bottom corner of the cardstock. And I'll go ahead and do that with the other two pattern papers and shimmery cardstocks. Now that I have the pattern paper glued down onto the shimmery cardstock, I'm going to go ahead and trim these down. And that way, if there's any misalignment, I can trim that off before cutting my tags. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and cut this at 3 inches. Being careful to make sure I cut it the right way if I have directional paper such as this one. And now I've got 2 of my tags, and I'll cut off the corners in just a minute. So I'm going ahead and trimming the other 2 and then cutting those at 3 by 6 as well. So I will have 6 tags all together once I'm finished trimming. Now I'm using my smaller paper trimmer to cut the corners off these tags. You can use your scissors, but I'm trying to be a little more precise. And then the piece that I cut off, I flip over to the other end so I can cut the same size and angle. And that will be my template, and I'll cut out the rest of my tags using that first tag to cut the angles. Then I'm bringing in my Memory Keepers hole puncher, and I'm using the bigger hole on here to just eyeball where I want it, and voila, I have a hole in my tag, and there you go. Now I've gone ahead and cut out my gift card pocket die using some scraps of red cardstock I had in my stash, and used some white scraps as well for the front panel of the pocket. And then I like to use my bone folder by Kat Scrappiness to burnish down those folds to make sure I have a nice crisp crease. Now I'm going to attach this pocket die to the tag using some score tape. I like using the score tape when attaching pockets because it has a really strong grip and it ensures that my pocket will stay in place. Now, here are those reverse tweezers I mentioned earlier, and they are perfect for helping you get that release tape off of the score tape. That way I'm not using my nails. I'm going to go ahead and place this centered towards the bottom of the tag, and once I have it where I want it, I'm going to go ahead and burnish again using my bone folding tool. And as you can see, gift card fits in there perfectly. We can then attach the white onto the red. But before I do that, I want to add a little bit of a snowbank. So I grabbed some scrap paper and I'm just kind of cutting my own little stencil. And I just put some acetate underneath so I don't get my work surface dirty. And I'm going to use some Sea Glass ink by Gina K and a blending brush. And then just add a little bit of color to make my snowbank. And then with whatever color is left on my blending brush, I'm going to lightly blend over the rest of the panel so there's a hint of blue in the background. Now, I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment. And this sentiment says, "There's no one elf like you." Now, I think I can go ahead and attach the white part of the gift pocket card to the back part. And I'm using my liquid glue again. Now, it's time to color our adorable elf images. So I'm going to bring in my Copic markers and I'm going to do some real simple no shade coloring. I'm just going to use one color to make it quick and easy because I want to get these 6 tags done as quickly as possible. Now I've cut out all my bows using more of that Reindeer Games pattern paper. Now let me show you real quickly how I assemble one of the bows. So I use my bone folder to kind of train the paper so it knows it's going to be curving over. And the bows, I'm using a combination of liquid glue and score tape. So I'll start by placing some score tape right in the center of the bow, and then I can burnish that down, and then I'll fold over one end to the center and adhere it, and then bring the second end over and match it over to the center. And I'll add a little bit of liquid glue to help the two ends stick together. And I'm holding it together using my reverse tweezers while I get working on the tails of the bow. So I'm getting the smallest of the bow tails and cutting it down the middle. Because instead of putting it just straight across behind the bow, I want the tails to be hanging down. So I cut it in half, and I'm going to attach them as though they're coming down from the bow. And then I'll go ahead and attach the tails directly to my tag using more liquid glue. Then I'm going to get the center portion of the bow. Now this is where these reverse tweezers are so helpful. They help to hold this tiny piece in place. But before I hold it to the center, I'm going to get some of the score tape and wrap it around the center. And then I'll attach that small centerpiece and fold it around the back. Again, adding a little bit of liquid glue just to help it adhere. And then once again, holding it together with my reverse tweezers. Now that that's dry, I've added more of the score tape to the back of the bow, burnishing it on there. And then I'm attaching that to the top of the tails of the bow. And then kind of burnishing the back of the bow so it adheres properly to the tag. Okay, now let's finish putting our tags together. So I went ahead and colored all my images and cut them out using the coordinating dies, which is absolutely wonderful. And then I'm just going to attach my images to the front of the gift card pocket. And some I'm attaching just flat using my liquid glue, and these two elves, I decided I wanted to pop them up. So I brought in some foam tape, and then I'm attaching those to the pocket. And then I thought I would add these beautiful white enamel dots right to the center of the bow to add kind of a finishing touch. Now, these are tags, so I'm going to add some twine. And this is some I just had in my stash, so I'm not really sure where I got it from. So I just cut a length of twine, fold it in half, put it through the hole in the tag, and then loop the ends through that folded piece. Then towards the top, I'm going to just tie a real simple knot and trim off any excess. And there you have our tags. I did some with the pocket on the shimmery cardstock side and some on the pattern paper side. So you see on the reverse is either the shimmery cardstock or the pattern paper, depending what I did on the front. If you haven't done it already, be sure to hit the subscribe and like button on the Kat Scrappiness channel. I'll be sure to link all the products I use to make these adorable gift card pocket tags in the description box below. I hope you found some inspiration and make some gift card tags for your friends and family. Thanks everyone. Bye for now.